Hello, everybody. This is Mike Orange, and we are doing the Jamie and Mike's Wrestling Adventures podcast today. Jamie, are you there today?
I am here and live and in living color if we only had video.
Well, it's a good thing we don't have video because I know what you look like. Just
That's
kidding, buddy.
not funny. I'm a very
Uh,
handsome gentleman.
you are if you was a luchador with a mask.
I'll take it. I do have a luchador mask. I have a couple around here actually.
I do too, but mine's a Dallas Cowboys luchador mask, so.
So I'm guessing maybe you're taking indie bookings now wearing that.
I mean, if somebody wants to book, I might be able to do a show or two.
Nice. Keep that in mind. Maybe get you booked and have you come down to Florida and do some stuff.
Yeah, I heard that wrestling in Florida is pretty big, and who knows, it might just be getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean there is quite a few independent promotions going around down here. A lot of indie talent, a lot of good indie talent. Just like anywhere else, there's still some questionable talent, just like any other state that has an indie promotion or many. But yeah, there is rumored, and we're not going too much into it today, but there's rumored that something that's really cool and maybe potentially big for the state of Florida may be happening soon, and hopefully the next couple of weeks we can talk more about that.
Well, can't wait to hear about that. So, buddy, did you watch AEW Collision from Saturday night?
I actually did. I actually got it in my schedule of earlier today. I did. It was kind of cool to see it at the Roanoke Civic Center, but I know that building like the back of my hand because I went there as a child even, and then it really hasn't changed. You can tell they're in that building if you know what it looks like. And, it was just really cool to see something actually go there again because the WWE hasn't been there in quite a while. I think it's been about 2 years. And on top of that, they haven't had TV there in many years.
Yeah, last time WWE had a show there, me and you actually went to it. So, I mean, it's a good wrestling place and everything. Um, I heard that they did really good for ticket sales, over 3,200 tickets. Uh, they drew the largest Saturday night audience since June on TV and stuff, with over 423,000 views. So it turned out to be a really good show and everything in Roanoke.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I did not know that Roanoke hit that milestone or landmark for AEW. That's pretty cool to hear. I do know that the show itself was not a bad show. They had a few indie talent on there that I have never seen before, and even in Virginia when I was up there. So I don't know where they got the guys and the girl from, but just pretty much what you expect from just like when WWE used local talent on Raw and SmackDown, they just go through the motions and put their own guys over in the long run. But overall, good show. I do like, and his name just popped out of my head. I think his first name's Kyle. And
Kyle Fletcher.
yes, there we go. Thank you. Kyle Fletcher. That guy's really, put on some weight too, and he's really beefed up and it looks phenomenal. Like he's been in the gym quite often, and he's really got a good look, and he's currently the TNT champion. But he had a good match with Kushida. I'm trying to think who he worked. It may have been Kushida. I can't remember. Um, a lot of the
It
names.
was.
Okay, a lot of the names actually slip my mind, because I don't really watch the product week to week like I would have many years ago. But overall, I thought the show was good. Adam Page in a 6-man tag with Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey, and they had a good 6-man tag main event with their opponents. So all in all, I thought the show was good. Seeing FTR and everybody else on there as well.
Yeah, for a collision and stuff like that, it was a really good show. Probably like honestly one of the better collisions I've seen in a long time. Really, I like the Juice Robertson uh, thing. Uh, like you said, Adam Page was there, a Virginia boy. So it was all really good.
Yeah, and just having Tony Schiavone in the building, and because I remember the first show I went to in Roanoke Civic Center was Bash '86. It wasn't a televised event, but it was one of the Great American Bash tour stops. And Tony was out in the crowd because he's from that area. He knows people. He was just out in the crowd talking to everybody, mingling. And just as a kid, I was probably 8 years old at that point. Just to being a kid and seeing him, because I watched him on TV every week, was even cool. And to see him still in the business this long, 40 some years later, God, it's just amazing. And he's doing a great job. He still sounds like Tony. And, of course, from the Nitro Knights as well. But to have another Virginia guy that's been in the business as long, and that's Tony Schiavone, that definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame, and some Hall of Fame down the road.
Yeah, for sure. He actually went to different like news outlets that did promotion for the show. It almost felt like really old school, like promotion going to like the news and all around to promote it. And they, like I said, they did a really good job for the show.
Yeah. Overall, with the current wrestling state and I do keep up with it, but I don't watch every week on none of the shows. I'll be honest, but I do keep up with it enough to know who most of them are, most of the storylines. And when I don't watch it, I normally read information. So, all in all, I think that was probably one of the better shows last week, of any of WWE or AEW, any of them. So, really happy to see that. So we moving along off topic. I know I've read some things about it. I didn't get to watch it, but Fox had a special about Hulk Hogan this past week. I understand Vince McMahon was on that show and he actually defended Hogan, and we all know what I'm talking about. Hogan's been called a racist, just for some words that he said. They got out there in the public eye, and McMahon defended it. He's like, he got punished for what happened at the time, basically is what he said. But he's like, I know he's really not one. He said, so, basically Tom had took care of the wounds, in other words. I don't know how I really want to say it, but basically Tom healed the wounds, I guess, right? So, what is your take on that? Do you think that's the way everybody should be looking at it? Or do you think that, cause there's still a lot of people hung up over it and took it to heart and still taking it serious, saying that, that's what he is and he said it and I cannot forgive him. But me personally, I'm not going to say that he is one, because I really don't know him that well. The person that I know him, working with him and being around him, I would say there's no chance in the world that he is. But anyway, do you think that, just like other acts of life, people move on? Do you think it's time for some of these people to move on?
Yeah, honestly, they should have moved on. How long ago was it? Like 10,
It's been 10
12.
years.
Yeah,
2015.
yeah, they should have like forgave him and moved on. say at least 9 years ago. Like he said something, he regrets it. He apologized. He apologized on TV, in person, backstage at a WWE event. Like he apologized a lot, and people still treat him like that and everything. So they should really just move on. And everybody says or does something that they regret.
Oh,
Like we're
absolutely.
like we're human. We're not perfect. There was only one perfect person, and that was Jesus. So everybody makes mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I know everybody that says something about Hogan, they probably said close to what he did, and we forgive y'all. So I mean, they should have forgave him a long time ago, and now after he passed, we should just kind of forgive what he did, and then kind of remember the memories that he gave us for our childhood, like saying your prayers, eat your vitamins, train, and try to be bigger than life. Like do the best you can and everything. So
Correct.
that's how I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, that's 1,000% right. Because, what gets me is, you know, and this is the way I look at things. And I found this out in life. These people that are online, that are social mediaing up and talking crap about him, that doesn't know him or any of his friends personally, they have probably done 10 times worse than this man by saying them words. And I say that because, um, most people in the internet world hide behind a keyboard and they talk trash to people or about people. But if they met anybody in person, they couldn't beat themselves out of a wet paper bag. So a lot of it's, what I call keyboard warriors. And, so I just stay out of that mess. There's stuff every day, man. I go on any of my feeds that I socialize on and I read stupid comments, but I just go. I scroll and go, right? Because I tell you why. I don't have time to waste my time on what somebody's opinion is on anything, because at the end of the day, most of them make themselves look ignorant by what they say. So I just scroll, go, and I have a good day. I don't worry about nobody but myself. A lot of people should live by that.
Yeah, the bad thing is the same ones that are calling him racist and stuff. I guarantee you went up to him, tried to get an autograph and everything, so they can make a quick buck off his signature and stuff.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt
So,
it.
so I mean, just forgive what he did and let's just move on. Cause I mean, Brock Lesnar was part of this thing with Vince McMahon, and people cheered him right back into WWE back at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So if you can forgive him for that and everything that he apparently did, why can't we do that with Hulk Hogan that did it 10 or so years ago?
Correct. I mean, my whole thing, and then I'll stop ranting because that's where it's going to get at if I don't stop. My thing is with anything, not just the pro wrestling, not just Hogan, but other topics on the internet, even political topics. I see some social feeds. Some people will do the same person will keep going on and on and on about a subject. Hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. I don't like everything I see on the news. I don't like everything I see in the world, but I don't have time to go on the internet and just spew a bunch of garbage. So I don't know where these people get this time from, but I don't have that much time. But God bless you, I guess. Anyway, um, now back to the question, I guess, Mike. You said you didn't watch it either. Did you um, hear anything or read anything from the show itself that happened other than what I brought up about Vince McMahon?
just that Vince McMahon was very disappointed in how WWE kind of did like the Hogan on the Netflix premiere, kind of like just like at the stage, and then he was very disappointed with the fans booing Hogan, and like he pretty much he gave credit, it sounds like, to Hulk Hogan to making it to that next step for WWE, like making it bigger and stuff. And he pretty much said if it wasn't for Hogan, it'd be uh, WWE wouldn't be where it is. And he was just upset with all the fans and stuff booing Hogan like they did.
Right. And I could see that because when I saw it, I was like, wow, really? Is this heat from 2015, or was this heat from him being a Republican and Trump representative? You know what I'm saying? So it made you wonder where these fans were coming from. But it was LA. LA's a very, and California too, is a very different state when it comes to political views and stances and being very liberal. So I'm thinking that's where I was leaning towards, because it was right after the debates and all that, and Hogan made all the appearances a couple months after. So that's what I'm going with. But then a lot of people were trying to stem back to 2015, 10 years earlier, saying, hey, it's because of this. I guess it's who you ask and whose opinion of why it happened. But it did happen nonetheless. But I was surprised as well. And I don't look at that part of his career and go, that's how I remember him. I remember Hulk Hogan when he beat the Iron Sheik in '84. I remember Hulk Hogan when he wrestled the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 at the Sky Dome up in Toronto, and the Warrior actually beats him and he passes the torch in 1990. I remember the good days. I remember him and Macho Man Randy Savage having great matches. I remember him and Paul Orndorff in '86, him and King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 2 in a cage, Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. That's what I remember. Hollywood Hulk Hogan at the NWO. I don't remember him getting booed in his later days. And I refuse to want to look at that. I want to remember the good days. And that's what I'm going to do. And when I watch Hulk Hogan stuff, that's what I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I personally like when Hogan did the New Japan Pro Wrestling stuff, because it was a whole different type of wrestling style that he did back then, and he actually looked phenomenal doing those matches, like an actual wrestling match, not his basic like 8-10 moves. Like he was doing like serious different wrestling moves, and that's probably like my favorite version of him when I go back and watch him, like old school stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wrestling even in the ring with the great Muta. It was strange watching it, but it happened. But yeah, I was just curious if you heard much about it. I haven't heard too much more about it other than the part I read about what Vince McMahon's part was. No other reviews, nobody bashing it, nobody talking great about it. So it's something I need to look more into, I guess, and maybe even watch here eventually, really soon. Any other wrestling news, like big wrestling news, or hell, any wrestling news at all? Have you heard anything?
What do you think about John Cena's face turn? Like he was a heel. How'd you like him turning face? What did you think? Like how they did it?
It wasn't how I projected it to happen. But you know, I can live with it. I knew it was going to happen anyway. And I'll be honest, I don't like heel Cena that much. I just could not get into it. And I don't know if it's because of the way they turned him to begin with, or John Cena is just a babyface? Or is it because we saw John so many years as being that big babyface is that we could never get used to him being a heel? I don't know what it was, but I really didn't enjoy his heel run as much as I should have.
Well, I think it's because they didn't give it a lot of time to develop. Like, you knew this is last year, so you know it wasn't going to last that long. So everybody was probably thinking, oh, it's not going to be that good. It probably didn't give it a chance. But turning face like he did, I mean, you go out there and just pretty much threw like The Rock and Travis Scott underneath the bus, sent a promo saying like they went home and they left him alone, and then all of a sudden he's a face drinking a beer with Cody Rhodes. I mean, I would have been more okay with them trying to do like up at SummerSlam, trying to do like a double turn, almost like Hogan and The Rock at WrestleMania, and it's like Cena becomes the big face, and then Cody Rhodes turns heel during the match. That would have been a little bit better, in my opinion. But either way, we got face Cena back, and that should be fun. But it's like they just threw away so much like storyline and like in my opinion, like a pathetic face turn. Because now you got R-Truth going like almost like a comedy thing when he interacted with Cena backstage on SmackDown. So you kind of threw away that storyline and everything. And I don't know, it's just as weird as it was for Cena to turn heel, it's almost weird turning back to face and threw the storyline away, in my opinion.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to see him back as a face. I know his career's winding down. The next few months, it'll be over. So it'll be interesting to see if Brock is his last opponent or who it will be. And, people are questioning whether Vince McMahon will be involved in his send-off. That'll be interesting to see as well. So I'm looking forward to the next couple months to see how everything unfolds until the end.
Yeah, what do you think about the rumor that they might do his retirement match on a Saturday night main event now on December 27th to compete with AEW World's End?
Yeah. To be honest, I know AEW is considered their competitor. But I don't think that they're so much of a competitor that they have to worry about giving a network television Saturday night's main event on NBC, free of charge to counteract the pay-per-view. So I don't know. They actually did that over the summer as well, back in July, with the Goldberg's match or whatever. But I just don't see the point in doing all that, because WWE themselves could have a pay-per-view of their own in December with Cena ending it there, and maybe try to cash cow that themselves. I don't understand why they're doing it. I'm guessing to counteract AEW so much that their buy rates will be worse than than probably what they already are. I'm sure they're not the highest. I don't know. It's kind of like, it reminds you of the days when the Crockett's would run the Clash of Champions, when they started them against like WrestleMania in '88 that year. And they did it again in '89 with Steamboat and Flair at 2 out of 3 matchup. But I see what WCW was doing it at the time, because WWE was such the leader in sports entertainment. But I don't understand why WWE feels the need to do it. Maybe it's just It's a Saturday night's main event date, and they thought they'd utilize it really big and get that viewership up, being seen as last match. I don't know. But will it do AEW any favors by them doing it? Yeah, it's not gonna. Will it hurt their buy rate? Probably not. Just for the mere fact that an AEW fan is an AEW fan, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I think World's End is it in London, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the time difference, so they're going to start it earlier. So, are they going to have Saturday night main event earlier like they did in Texas? They had it on for like 2 hours before AEW All In. Are they going to do the same thing with World's End? But I don't know. I don't think they should go against AEW. I mean, everybody loves wrestling. Uh, are you really considering AEW like a competition where they're gonna like take over like WWE? No, in my opinion, TNA's better than AEW, but AEW's got some really good product. I think TNA could be that number two if they get a good TV deal. Uh, so I don't think they have nothing to worry about, like anybody taking like their spot. So let them have like their show. I mean, I think they was planning on Cena's retirement match. I think the 13th of December. So now you're kind of bumping it out 2 weeks later just to compete with them. And I was like, who you gonna have to face Cena in his retirement match? That's gonna go against a pay-per-view for wrestling. Like, I mean, maybe it will be Brock. You're gonna have to have a big name to go after to try to counter the whole AEW pay-per-view. That's usually a really big show in London and overseas. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm assuming the Brock Lesnar match is going to be coming up pretty soon, being that it already, the angle started, or is Cena doing an injured storyline right now, or is that not happening? I haven't watched it since then. What?
No, I don't think he's doing the injured like storyline. He's with his dates. I don't think he's got a few dates in September. I think he's working like one date in September, if I'm thinking correctly. So it might be because of that, but I don't know. So I mean, what's the next big pay per view after SummerSlam? Survivor Series.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, I guess they could do it there, but then who would you have for the final match? Because you already did Cody Rhodes twice. You already did Randy Orton, R-Truth. If you do uh, Brock at Survivor Series, you already seen that. I mean, Kurt Angle, I don't think can really do a match. I mean, the only thing that you could do is if Edge's contract just happens to run out in AEW, have him face Cena at the last match to kind of go against AEW, maybe, but that's kind of a long shot.
Yeah, it's kind of like, is Cena going to work a match between now and Survivor Series, though? That's the question. That's why I don't understand. Do you start this with Lesnar now, have him work other people up until the big Lesnar match, or do you go ahead and give the Lesnar match at a sooner pay-per-view or an event and go ahead and knock it off the list? Or do you have a feud between the two and they have several matches how are we doing this? Have you heard anything with their plans with it, or is it just pretty much, hey, this is set and that's it?
Yeah, I haven't heard hardly anything about what they're going to do with like Brock Lesnar and Cena, and it's kind of like a hush hush, try to make it, I guess, big for the people, you know. So, I
Well,
mean, I just want to know who they're going to get that's a big enough person to go with Cena to go against a whole company that right now is number two, and they're really big overseas in like London. Like, which two people, Cena, who else, going to go against them? I mean, is it going to be The Rock? I mean, we already seen that back to back WrestleManias, and then like I personally don't want to see that match. Like,
right.
so I don't know. I mean, what other names could do? I like, what are you going to do? Bring Stone Cold out of retirement and have Stone Cold versus John Cena? Like, you can't, you got to have a big name, but then you can't have Cena lose his last match.
Correct.
So it's got to be a big name, but not a big name. So that kind of gets me thinking, like Stone Cold's out. I don't see Brock Lesnar losing on a Saturday night main event against John Cena in his last match.
Mhm.
Uh, like, who do you have that's that big to do it? You know?
Yeah. That's a good question. Who they would go with if that's going to be his final match. And he's over, of course. He good send off. I don't know. So much the storylines are not adding up with the way they're doing a lot of things because you had Ron Killens come back. I mean, that was dead in the water as soon as they started it. And then now you got Brock Lesnar. It came back and Cena's turned back to the good side. He's like back on the, instead of being the evil Darth Vader type guy, he's like Luke Skywalker going to save the day. I mean, so much has happened in a little bit of time and there's no answers to a lot of it. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like, who? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out a big name that's gonna go against Cena. I mean, do you give it to somebody that's kind of that needs that extra push almost? Uh, I mean, you got Gunther. I mean, maybe. I mean, he's already a world champion or a former world champion, but to get that big star name value, would you put him against Cena? But then I don't see him beating Cena. But then he could beat John Cena in his last match, and then he has on his resume retiring Goldberg and John Cena. So, I mean, it's a possibility. But as much as Cena's done for the company, I don't see him losing on the way out.
Correct. I mean, but you said earlier you named The Rock. What if you did put The Rock on Saturday night's main event with John Cena? Now that would be record breaking. That would bring like a big rating. I don't know if it'll hit the Hogan Andre rating back in '88, but it'll hit a rating. So who knows? That might be the route. That might be the best way to go. The final boss and Cena, Saturday night's main event in December, the big match of end alls. I mean, hey,
Or
that would sound good on paper.
or what about John Cena versus Ric Flair to figure out who is the best world champion? The 16th time Ric Flair or the 17th time John Cena?
No, you know how I feel about Rick. You know he's one of my favorite, but I do not. want to see Rick anymore in the ring. I want his legacy to try to remember what happened before his last match. And I love the guy to death, and I think he was one of the best of all time. But I know you're just joking, by the way, but no.
All right, I do think. What about if John Cena versus whoever the United States the Intercontinental Champion is? Like, I don't care who it is, and he beats them for the Intercontinental Championship, and then his very last match, he becomes a Grand Slam champion because he's not a Grand Slam champion yet. He's done everything in the business. He's even broke the record for the world titles, but he's never held that one title to get to the Grand Slam part of WWE. You think he could do that for his last match?
I mean, that's a possibility. Who's the current IC champ as of right now?
Gotta put me on the spot.
Because I can't tell you.
Yeah, hold on, let me look that up.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a Google search of some kind. Because at this current moment, I could not tell you. Yeah, that's how much the loop I'm out, and I still keep up with it just enough, but that I could not tell you. I wonder if it's, man, it's driving my mind crazy.
Oh, okay. I don't know why then. It's Dominic. Dirty Dom.
That's right. It
So,
is. Okay.
I mean, I guess you could do Cena versus Dominic to give Dominic that next level, like facing a big star, but you have him lose. You put him over, like, to make him sound like a big star, but you have Cena win to get the Grand Slam thing, but you kind of elevate Dominic into like the main event scene.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna be honest. I just, to me, Dominic on paper against Cena, I don't care what title he's holding. It doesn't do anything for me personally. And I hate to say that. Right now, if his father had the belt, Rey Mysterio, I could see that on paper.
What? His father is Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, I'm sorry. His father's Eddie Guerrero. Okay. But, I don't know what it is. I like him as a performer. I think he's really progressed so much. But if we're talking about ending Cena's big farewell, even if it does give him the Triple Crown or whatever you're talking about, the Grand Slam win, it doesn't work for me. It'd have to be somebody different. So, but I mean,
Dominic could lose it before then, say to like Braun Breaker, and then you can elevate him as the main eventer, like taking a loss from Cena, and then it still promotes him to like that main event thing, and then maybe after that you have Breaker going after Seth Rollins in a storyline, and maybe have them two face off at WrestleMania for the world title since Seth Rollins is the champion. I mean, it's a possibility.
Oh, there's tons of possibilities. It's just your booking, my booking versus their booking. You know how that goes. So our thought process is a lot different.
Yeah, I learned everything from Vince Russo himself.
All right. Well, you should send that in with your resume and tell them that you want to be one of the head writers for Raw or SmackDown.
Hey, if my all-time favorite, like, promoter, creative person is Vince Russo, I mean, I learned from the best, in my opinion.
Okay. So we were, so talking about that, World's End, Saturday night's main event. The only way that I think, that it would mean something for WWE in the long run is to, let's see, is to have that big matchup like we were talking about. Maybe Cena and The Rock, free network television, not on pay-per-view, big effing deal. I think that would work. I think that would blow their rating skyrocket. Other than that, there's not too many guys with that star power to work Cena that would build it to that next level. But it'll be interesting to see where they go, if they actually keep Saturday night's main event on the 27th of December, if that's going to be changed. A lot of it's going to be interesting to see going forward.
What about maybe somebody from TNA, maybe AAA? Like it's possibilities of different stuff. I mean, they got working relationship, or they bought so many different companies. You can have a big name outside of it to come in and face Cena for the last match too.
Yeah, but that would also make me go back to my going back to me having to really think hard of who would be a great opponent for him. So, because nothing comes to mind. No one comes to mind. That would be that much of a free agent to work Cena. So yeah, I don't know who I'd go with.
I don't know. I'm lost. I'm lost on this one. Like I'm trying to give out possibilities, but it ain't nothing really sounds good for right now. But
Right.
we just gotta trust the process. And who knows? Maybe Vince McMahon will come back and have a retirement match with John Cena. You never know. Never say never.
That would be interesting. Yeah, see what kind of shape Vince is in at this moment in his life. That would be very interesting. Absolutely. So Mike, we've been talking, I know Bully Ray was in the news recently, talking about Cena and everything going on. Am I correct by what I've seen? He is basically saying that Vince has to come back to do the send-off for Cena. Am I right about that?
Well, I don't think it's like confirmed for anything. He just pretty much said uh he should be there. But
Yes.
everything that Vince did for Cena and everything, that after Brock Lesnar came back, that Vince should come back for the final appearance. Like the thing is, would you have him actually come to the building and have a possibility of him getting booed like Hulk Hogan, or you take that chance to see if he can get like a major monster pop like there for a while he was getting before all this happened, or do you do like some kind of video and stuff and just have it on the big screen?
Right. Honestly, the way the fans are, it's hard to say what kind of actual live reaction you'd get, regardless if it was video done or regardless if McMahon is live and in the flesh, right? It's hard to say because the way the wrestling community can turn their backs in a heartbeat on anybody. And I think that has a lot to do. And a lot of people will say that I'm thinking way back in the times, but it has a lot to do with kayfabe not being around no more. And the inner workings of our big business has been exposed. If it hadn't been exposed, just be honest, we wouldn't be talking about topics right now. We wouldn't be on a podcast. No one would have a podcast talking about the inner workings of the business because kayfabe would still be living, but that's not the world we live in. So People know about the business. People knows about the exposed behind the scenes. Hell, Netflix even has their own show now for WWE, which I've not watched that yet either. I've experienced a lot of backstage stuff. I don't know if they teach me anything new. I don't know. Maybe a lot of things have changed over the last 10 years or 9 years or whenever the last time I was backstage involved in the business on that level. But what I'm getting at is, I think the day that kayfabe and the inner workings of our business was exposed to the highest level, not just, oh, we know this happens and that happens. I'm talking about everything that's been exposed. I think the day that that happened, it kind of tarnished the way a fan looks at our business. So nowadays, every fan of Setback, they're like, they're worse than an armchair quarterback for a professional football game. They will critique everything and act like they could book it better than the people doing it themselves. And I just think that exposed the business so bad that that's where we're at. So basically what I'm getting at is, with Vince coming back, this day he comes in a live setting. He's there. He's live on Raw, pay-per-view, Saturday Night's Main Event, whatever it shall be. And he comes back and does an angle with Cena to send him off. You could get a great pop. People will accept him. Or with all the negativity that's been put out there and all the negativity that the public's seen and the court cases and all that, it could backfire and it could be worse than Hogan's reaction at the first Raw on Netflix. So that's something to think about.
Yeah, if he does show up, like live and everything, I just want to know how much backlash WWE's going to get. Not, I know Vince will probably get booed or whatever because fans are
Well,
worried about certain things, but not like everything that he's done. I mean, if it wasn't for Vince, I mean, it wouldn't even be a WWE. But who knows? We might still have the territories and like actual old school wrestling. Like it could look a whole lot different from now. But how much backlash is WWE going to get? Because I heard it was a little bit of backlash from Brock Lesnar, and like everybody knows like what he did or apparently did. I don't want to make him mad if he comes after me, but but I mean, Vince apparently did so much more. Like, is people gonna like really cheer him and stuff? But if they cheer him and they forgave him, why can't they forgive Hogan what he did 10 years ago?
right. Well,
Like, so,
it depends on how you look at it. It could be one of them things because if you remember the Attitude Era, Vince was a natural heel. When he started his being the boss and getting on television, he was a natural heel and people naturally hated him. That naturally turned Steve Austin, and he was a badass. We know that. He was defying the boss, but everybody loved that because everybody wants to say F you to the boss, give him the middle finger, you know.
I know exactly how that feels.
Right. So that was the greatest thing that ever happened. And Vince is a natural heel. So he could get that natural heel heat, or he could get what I call the fans overreacting into real life heat and internet marks just going crazy. It depends. If it's the all natural heat, it's the best thing that there ever is in the pro wrestling business. But if it's that heat from, he did this to this girl, or did this to that person, or you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get at here in a nutshell. It's not good heat. It's just, that's bad heat. That's bad publicity. But if it's a wrestling heat, I love it. But, you know, it's hard to say what kind he'll get. He may get that natural wrestling heat when he comes back, and people remember the Vince McMahon of old and hate him for his character, or he could get that real life Vince McMahon heat that the internet and news outlets have portrayed him to be. Because none of us know the real story. None of us know anything 100%. The news media and the internet will make things 10 times worse. And I don't know. It just depends on which way the fans go with it. If they let their minds get entrenched into that work and hate him for his character, it could be the most beautifulest thing there ever was if he got heat. But if it comes from that real life heat, it could be one of the worst things that could happen. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll probably get cheered. Uh, but I mean, I thought they was going to cheer Hogan and stuff like more than what they did. So
Yeah.
I could never predict it.
No, it's
that
anything
good.
is
So
too hard to predict.
yeah, especially with WWE. So
Yeah, anything to do with the pro wrestling business is hard to define. That's for sure. Just what I can tell you from experience of being in it as long as I have, um, behind the scenes, things that happen in the ring, things that happen, away from the building that, bars afterwards. I've seen some crazy stuff, been around it, but that's a different day, different story type scenario. And we can go into more stories later down the road. But wrestling as a whole, when I got in the business, and it was a long time ago. It was 1993 to be exact. In 93 you had, to my knowledge, you only had what could be considered territories left in 93. And that would be Smoky Mountain Wrestling with Jim Cornette. And ironically, they're both in Tennessee. The other company would be the Jarrett promotion down in Memphis, the USWA and Nashville and all that. But anyway, everything else was independence by this point. But when I broke in, you still had that going on. Kayfabe was still alive by the people teaching me when I got into business. And, but if, by the late 90s, when the internet got bigger, everybody's on the internet, people putting out wrestling terminology, different things were happening. People started realizing the way the business was a little more than what they already had thought. They couldn't suspend their belief as much. Fast forward from, I remember being in WCW, and that was the Russo era. Ed Ferrari was there as well. You go from the crash TV writing that we call it at times, that Russo and them were doing by this point, just go from when I broke in from 93 to 2000, how much difference that was, right? And then you fast forward it 25 years later. Think about that. And the internet is in the palm of your hand now. The internet is everywhere. And not just considering that, the way the shows have came out, kayfabe is, people thought kayfabe was dead 25 years ago. Well, if it was any left at all then, it sure as heck ain't here now. And I just think that was, the secrecy that could be kept within the industry is all gone now. And do I think that ultimately hurt the business? Well, obviously it didn't hurt it too bad. It's thriving pretty damn well if you ask me. But you have a different set of fans than you would have had back when I first started watching in the 80s and 90s, because then we didn't have all the outlets. Even if you were told the wrestling business is this way or that way, you still looked at it differently because you really didn't know 100%. But now the fans look at it and critique it, and they look at it in a different light. And when they look at it the way they look at it now, they'll look at a match, dissect it, and go, oh, I love the way he did this or did that. And he's so good at his mic skills, or he's got this moveset I like. It's a little bit different of a fan terminology in the way fans look at things. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but the way I broke in is 100 times different than anybody breaking in today, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said, buddy.
I miss the way sometimes, Mike. I'll be honest with you. I miss the way that the business was when I broke in. It's just because that's the era I broke in, though. That's just the way it's going to be. And the guys breaking in today, 25 years from now, or 30 years, or whatever, will be telling the same story. I remember back in 2025 when I broke in, or 2020, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And they'll talk about how the wrestling business has changed because everything's going to continue to evolve. No pun intended for the TV show, of course, by WWE or the company, but things will keep evolving and life evolves, and that's just the way it is. And, we have to accept it, of course, but we can always think about our glory days and look back on things we liked when we were younger. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and one thing that I like about wrestling,
What is that?
independent wrestling, and you used to referee at this location a few times, but back in like where like I went to school and everything up in Montville, Virginia, Pure Pro Wrestling is coming back Saturday, August 23rd at 7:30. Sounds like it's going to be a really good show, and I plan on being there. If I know you can't be there this time because you went to a whole different state and you left me, but I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a good show. Uh, I'm excited for this one. So, like I said, Saturday, August 23rd. And if y'all happen to be in Montville around that time, come on by and you're most likely going to see me there.
Yeah, I do remember Montville. And fill people in a little bit about the story about this place. Montville, Virginia, at the rec club. I think it's called is it a rec center, community center, rec club? I forget what they call it up there.
It's a rec club. It used to be like the Montville Rec Center, but with everything that happened, like it was a fire, burnt down, and they
Yep.
rebuilt it and they renamed it the Rec Club.
Yes. And I'm glad you mentioned the fire because I was going to go into that. So basically it burned down, I believe in 2020, 2021. I don't have my year, but I remember hearing about it living in Roanoke. It may have been around it was during the years of COVID that was really bad still because 20 was really bad and 21, we were still wearing masks the whole year everywhere. Still crazy. But anyway, this place burns down and the promoter, which is Pure Pro Wrestling is the name of the group. The promoter is Jimmy Love. Used to run there quite often, guys. Not every month. So it wasn't really every 4 weeks, but about every 6 weeks he would have a card there. And I worked on a few of the cards for Jimmy, being I lived in Roanoke for a few years. And I would go up to Montville. And the last time I actually worked for Jimmy, because during COVID, it kind of killed things. We all know that for the independent groups because they couldn't do much. But it was May of 2019. It was the last show I did in Montville. And then I think the center burned down in 2020 and Jimmy had to cancel a bunch of shows for them up there anyway, because the state of Virginia wouldn't let nobody do anything. The athletic commission. So, that was when the last show I did up there, Mike, for Jimmy Love, Pure Pro Wrestling. I think it's May 18th of 2019, if I can remember correctly. But nice indie promotion. I don't know how the center was. I don't know how the center is now, but back then it was a low ceiling, and they had to use a low boy ring. And if you fans are not familiar with what a low boy ring is, it's just a ring that either can be set at, normal height you see at a professional wrestling show, or you can lower it to fit into smaller places like that, or maybe into a nightclub or a bar or something like that. But anyway, Jimmy has several rings, so he had to put the low boy in there. I remember that about the place. I don't know how the new one is, and maybe you can fill everybody in on that if you end up going. But he had good talent then. I know it's changed over the years because I haven't worked for him. I worked for Jimmy in 2022 was the last time I take that back, Mike. I'm wrong. I worked for Jimmy the last time in 2023, early 2023, I believe, if I get my years right. It was January of 23. So about 2 years ago. But over the years, I worked for him sporadically. Good group of guys. I had some friends there already. And, he runs in Danville, Virginia as well. Montville, actually Roanoke occasionally. And then, Rocky Mount and Wirtz and all that area, Mike. You know where that is. A lot of the people listening won't know, but, cause you're from that area, but yeah, good stuff. So, I recommend if he comes to your area, North Carolina or Virginia, give it a shout out, but not just his. If a indie show comes to your town, go out and see it. You might see somebody that you like and follow, and they end up being on the television one day. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm planning on going to this one. I was going to go to the one. They just have one, like you said, probably about 4 or 6 weeks ago. It's like how they do it and stuff. And I was going to go to that one, but something came up, so I didn't go to that one. But I am planning on going to this one. So if I go and y'all see me, make sure y'all say hi and everything. And yeah.
Yeah. And, like Mike is talking about that promotion, but, down here and since coming back to the Tampa Bay area, some of the same events are running down here. The Shine Group, the all woman promotion, did their 13th year anniversary this past Sunday. I was not able to make it because I used to work for them quite a bit when I lived here down in Ybor in Tampa. But they were out at Clearwater at the OCC Roadhouse, and I heard that event went over very well. Also, the same promotion, which is the promotion we talked about it before many moons ago about going to China for the World Wrestling Network, Evolve, FIP, Shine Group, all under the same umbrella, WWN. They run every Monday at the OCC in Clearwater. And I went out there and checked out a show about 3 weeks ago on a Monday, met my good buddy Ken Kendrick. Ken used to work shows with us down here in Tampa for Florida Underground and for Sal with ACW and FIP and all that good stuff. And met up with him and reconnected and watched the show. Saw two guys on the show that I know from years ago. The rest is all new talent within 7 years. And I've been gone for 7 years. So that was a little eye opener, but still, I got out, watched the show, got to see some new talent and, see what Florida in this area has to offer. And, but like Mike was saying, guys, if you're in the area for any of these shows, whether it's here in Florida, it's Virginia, let's say you live in South Carolina, hell, you might live in South Dakota if you listen. If they got an indie show and you want to go see it, I suggest you should go because one, the ticket prices are a heck of a lot cheaper than the big major promotions that are on television. And two, a lot of times in them intimate, more settings of a building, you'll have a heck of a lot more fun. You get to interact with the guys personally, maybe see their gimmick tables, maybe get autographs, maybe take pictures. You'll have a little bit more fun overall. And a lot of them guys will end up on your television one day. A lot won't, but a lot will. So, but do yourself a favor. Get out, check out some good professional wrestling. Like I said, I even went to one about 3 weeks ago down here on a Monday night. I'll probably go catch another one. Will I start working again? That's in the cards. Yes. When will that happen? I don't know quite yet, but I'm in the works of that happening. Also working on another project that, me and Mike's been talking about as well, but we're not going to bring it up quite yet. And I look forward to filling everybody in on, my indie dates, and also the bigger project that I'm talking about in the weeks to come. So I'm excited about everything going forward. Even with the podcast, it's going to be good.
Yeah, you talk about ticket prices for independent shows is like cheaper than your main show. Well, the one in Montville on the 23rd of August is $15 a ticket, and children 6 and under are free. I
Yep.
mean, if you got young kids, I mean, what's a better deal? Like if it's you and say like a 6 year old or under, what how much fun are you gonna have for $15 anywhere else? You know? So I mean, it's a really good price for a show, and just hope to see a lot of people there. And like I said, it's up in Montville, Virginia. So hopefully, like I said, it's a good crowd, and it's like James said, it's going to be like really good talent there too.
Oh yeah, I mean $15, you'll probably potentially end up on the first couple of rows. You have the interaction with the actual participants a lot more, and you can't beat it. I mean, you go WWE just for a house show, you're probably paying $250 for a front row seat, is my guess. I don't know. That's pretty steep. Um, so yeah, you do yourself a favor if you're a wrestling fan. And if you've never been to an indie show, you're probably going to get hooked, because that's what happened to me when I was a child. My first indie show, I got hooked on it as much as I did on anything I watched on television, and I never looked back. Next thing you know, fast forward a few years, I'm actually in the ring working for the Italian Stallion and group out of Charlotte. So, you never know what happens. It might inspire somebody to become somebody in the business one day, either as a referee or wrestler, and you may get that proper training. You may get in there and you may have a good career. And, so yeah, I mean, you got to do yourself favors and get out there to these good indie shows out there across the country.
Yes, for sure. Uh, but something that we need to talk about is Cowboy Revolution. It's getting that time where it's starting to get a little chillier. Not in Florida, probably,
No.
but it's slowly getting a little bit cooler in Virginia. So I mean, Cowboy Revolution, they got hoodies, they got shirts. If you want a shirt because you're in Florida, it's way too hot for a hoodie, get a shirt. If you got a bald head like somebody I know in Florida, buy a hat, cover up your bald head so it doesn't get burnt. They got decals, tumblers, everything. And the best thing is it supports the veterans. Uh, we are in a country where we're free to go to all these independent wrestlings, major wrestlings, something that we enjoy doing. We're in a country we're free to even just talk about wrestling on a podcast. So go out there, support the veterans and everything, and save you some money. And James, you want to tell them how to save money?
That's right. So after you do all them great things Mike told you to go do and to buy off the site, you just go to your checkout, and before you put in your credit card information and do all that to get it sent to you, you're going to enter in the coupon code box, I call it, Jamie T123. And when you do that, you will save 15% off your purchase, and you do not want to miss out on that 15%. I recommend you go take a look at their stuff today. And then it also tells them that you're listening to the podcast, and they know that they made the right choice by getting involved with our adventures that we bring you each and every week.
Yeah, the good thing is you get to save 15% on your order. Take that 15% that you're saving and go to an independent show
There you
and
go.
support the wrestling. So you get to support the veterans. You get to go to a wrestling show. So it's a win-win if you go to cowboyrevolution.com.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so before I want to bring up this story because Julia, your wife,
Mm-hmm.
we all hung out before you went to Florida.
Yeah.
And she said we should talk about a story on the podcast. I totally forgot about it till today when I was doing some stuff.
Okay.
And it's for us it's a funny story. Uh, do you want to tell these people about the whole hammer situation?
Yeah. Okay, so right now, right here's my tool bag right here, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing out so it'll refresh my memory just a little bit more. So what I got here is my big hammer. No pun intended for something else. Anyway, so I got my big hammer here. So what Mike's referring to is apparently he said I needed a real man hammer. He saw my hammer laying there, and the handle's a little bit smaller, and the I guess what would you call that? What do you call that? The hammerhead? I don't know.
Look, that hammer was pathetic. Okay, so they got different sizes. they they got different size hammers. They got kids size. They got probably like young adults, big boy hammers, and a man's hammer. This hammer, so this hammer is about the size of the hammer that they use to ring the bells at the wrestling shows.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I mean, so so I come over to the house to where he was at the time, and I go in there and they are packing everything, and I go over there and I just happen to like look at a table, and I see this little tiny hammer, and I was like, man, this thing is pathetic. And we joked about it for a little bit, and like my forearm is bigger than that hammer. Uh, like it was a very small hammer, and I was like, man, I feel bad for him. James got one of the smallest hammers I've ever seen, and
Hey.
so all this happened on Saturday. So Sunday, I wake up and get ready for church, and I was like, man, I feel bad for James. It's like he's got that little hammer. So before I go to church, I go to the local Walmart, Bedford Walmart, one of the better Walmarts we got around me,
It is.
and um, and I picked like the best looking hammer they have. This one's got like the little magnetic head where you could put the nail on it to help you guide it and everything. I was like, I'm gonna go over there and give this hammer to him. Like I'm happy. Like I don't have to think about that little tiny hammer no more. Like I'm gonna give James a big hammer. So after church, I drive all the way to Roanoke, and I was like, "Are you home? Like I'm here in the parking lot. Can you come down and everything?" And he comes down and he sees the big hammer, and I think he was impressed because like he was so used to something that small that everybody was making fun of that he was happy. So I give him the hammer. I go up into the apartment. And we were talking a little bit, and then one of our friends from that we used to work together at Walmart, he comes over, tell him about the story. He likes the hammer. Well, we get ready to leave, and at the time I was joking. I was like, man, I should get the small hammer so I can remember you by. Like, well, he gives me the hammer. He gives me the little hammer. Well, next thing I know, Julia, I don't know if she was serious or what, but somehow James signs the hammer, and she goes, "Did you write? Did you? enjoy your little hammer and stuff. And James was like, no. So he takes the hammer back out of my hands, and then he autographs it on one side, and then on the other side he writes, enjoy your little hammer. So
Right. So one day that hammer's gonna be worth more than anything else I've ever signed. So yeah, the hammer's been working out well. I've been hanging pictures and stuff since we moved in, and I don't have to deal with having such a small hammer anymore.
I mean, it's probably one of the weirdest autographs that I've ever gotten. But but I will say, even if I didn't get that autograph and the hammer with it and stuff, that is probably one of the best stories that I could tell about the last time we saw each other. For who knows when we'll see each other again, but and then we will. Um, like that's like the last time like we kind of saw each other. So just that story, I mean, it's a really great story for us. But if James ever goes into the Hall of Fame like he deserves, who knows? I might donate that hammer to the Hall of Fame so everybody can see the little hammer.
And don't worry, I'll make sure they know about the little hammer.
I mean, who knows? We might when we start up the Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff back. Who knows? We might put pictures on there and give the like a shorter version of the story, but show people like online, like this is the hammer that everybody was making fun of. Like I was honestly embarrassed to have it in the front seat going back home
What?
because it was that small. Like, like you're over there, you're like, yes, I got a big hammer, and I'm over there. I was like, let me like, I need something to hide this, and I had I had a bandana, and that thing was almost too small to cover. Like it was way too big to cover the hammer. So it covered it enough to get to the house, so nobody would be making fun of me going home. But nah, I'm joking. It's I got it up in my man cave part and everything, and if we go video and stuff, I'm gonna have a display where y'all can see it and stuff. So it's actually a good memory for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I do have the hammer. Like I said, it's been coming in really handy here. But when I got so used to having the smaller hammer, I probably wouldn't even know the difference now if I had kept it. But, but yeah,
I mean, you got to admit that hammer was pretty small.
yeah, it was. Um, yeah, now that I've saw other hammers, that one is, pretty small. I don't know where I got the thing from, to be honest with you, man. I was sitting there asking Julia, I'm like, where did I get that thing from anyway? And she's like, I don't know. So I don't even know where the hammer came from.
Well, I know where it is now. uh, but yeah, it's like I said, it's a small hammer. James ain't used to handling something that big of a hammer, so hopefully he's okay using a adult sized hammer. Uh,
Thermite.
but yeah, so I'm happy that he's finally grown up to use big boy tools now.
Me too. Me too. I finally made it to big boy tools. I got me a real drill now, so I think I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean, you should be pretty good. If not, just let me know, and then I will try to find you some more big boy tools, so you don't have to get the little baby stuff anymore.
Would you, will you mail it to me? If I need something, will you make sure I get it?
Oh yeah, because I don't want people laughing at you for with all these baby tools.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the the Hammer, and I appreciate you sharing that story. I don't know why we haven't talked about it until now.
I don't know, but like I said, I meant to do it when you first went to Florida, and we was just talking about so much wrestling, and then everything that happened with like Hogan. We just kind of forgot about that Hammer story. But I mean, it's like I said, it's a good story, it's a good memory. Uh, we got a few good memories. Uh, like I said, we went to wrestling together. Uh, we went, uh, had, we went to a pizza place. Like we did some stuff. We went to gyms before. Like, so I mean, it was a really good friendship. And like I said, one day we're going to reconnect and it's going to act like we've never been apart. Like, James is really a good guy and he's got a good future, I believe, in Florida. And like I said, one of these companies that he's been in really needs to put him into the Hall of Fame because he might not say it, but he's really is deserving of the Hall of Fame. And who knows, maybe we should start a petition to see if we can get him into a Hall of Fame.
I mean, I appreciate all the kind words, and I did put a lot into the industry, and I've really enjoyed my time that I did put forth in it, and you know, I mean, I've always looked at my work as a good body of work for the industry. I've just never had what we call an inflated ego. So a lot of guys will be like, oh, I deserve this. I deserve everything. I'm just one that, knows that, I'm as good as anyone else that's ever stepped foot in there. But other than that, I'm not overinflated with an ego or anything like that. And, it's just the way, that I'm built, so, but I do appreciate that. That means a lot, to hear that.
I mean, so we could, if we was talking about Cena's final match and we need a big name, do you think we could get John Cena versus Jamie Tucker as Saturday night main event? Would you come out of retirement for that match?
Yes, I'll take the five knuckle shuffle and whatever else he brings. So yes.
I mean, why not? You're Mr. Former 424. You should be able to go at least like 40, 45 minutes with John Cena.
Oh yeah, I'll take John Cena to a time limit draw. How long's the time limit?
I don't know. We're going to go with 60 minutes, no holds barred, uh, match. And the only way you can win is by submission.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in contact with Ken Shamrock and I'm going to get some good training in before I end up doing this thing.
Well, you could, or you can go to the Real American Wrestling promotion for Hulk Hogan, and they got some really good trainers. They got some good wrestlers that they might be able to help you learn a whole lot of submissions to fight John Cena. And that promotion kickstarts on August 30th.
That is true. August 30th. I got to remember that date. What day of the week does that fall on?
Saturday. It's 1 week right after the show in Montville, Virginia.
Okay. Yes. We'll have to do a podcast after that too and give our thoughts on what we saw and what we feel like the future may be for that promotion.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm pretty sure I saw where Kurt Angle is actually a part of this thing now.
Oh, nice. We were
So
speculating who would come in and help out with that promotion, of it. And, honestly, that, was one of the names we were throwing around of guessing that's who'd come in.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they get Ken Shamrock too and put them together. Have them like coach. I don't know what Kurt Angle's doing, if he's just a coach or whatever, but it's a lot of WWE wrestlers or former wrestlers that could help the promotion if they really want to. I mean, you said something about Ken Shamrock. It's Kurt Angle that I saw, but it was an interview that I saw. Steve Blackman, he'd be a good one if they can get him to help train and stuff from the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
So
Steve Blackman. I just saw an old interview that he did in probably '99, and he was really intense type of guy. You know, he was just like crazy intense. But I hear he was like legit. You know, he's just like Angle and any of them, like Steiner's, they're just a legit guy, and you didn't want to mess with him.
yeah, I think he was really good. He was, I think he was like way before his times. If like UFC and kind of was like bigger back then, I think he probably would have probably gave up WWE to go to UFC just with the style of wrestling that he was doing and stuff. And like, yeah, he had a good career and like he's very like underrated in my opinion. He was really good.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good era. Like, you know, like we were talking earlier, the Attitude Era is just one of them eras that in the times, as the times go by, you'll never stop forgetting about, the Attitude Era. It was just a time that you cannot forget about. I mean, it was great. Every Monday you'd flip back and forth between them and the competition and, or you do what I did. You'd watch one and then tape the other one. And that's what I was famous for. I normally watch, Nitro unless something big was supposed to happen on Raw, and I would, video record Raw and watch it the next morning. But nonetheless, it was just a good time in history. Just like the 80s, in my opinion, was the golden era, and just phenomenal times. Um, and hopefully, you know, we'll sit back one day and talk about stuff that happened in 2020 and 2025 and so forth, and go, hey, they were good times. Remember this? And but I don't know if we will the same way.
I mean, it's air in wrestling is different. No matter what you do, it's different. Uh, I think the reason I like the Attitude Era, yes, the competition was good, but look how many main event stars they had. Like it wasn't like they had mid card and stuff, but they had so many different main eventers that was over that if say like one got hurt, you had another main eventer ready to take his spot because it was that loaded of main event guys. And don't get me wrong, now they got main event people, but they don't have, in my opinion, as many that can get over with the crowd as much they did back then.
Yeah, and the only downfall that I think that era um, messed up on, and I'll be very vocal about that. You know, I'll say it is, you know, not necessarily on Nitro. Nitro had a lot of matches that were long, had some time to them. Just like you watch on, you know, Raw will give you a decent long match for a title or whatever the case may be. But WWE's TV at the time was famous during the 96, 97 to 2000 era. They're famous for having short matches. And then a lot of WCW got that way in 2000 and late 99 and 2001 to the demise. And unfortunately, it looks like it may have had a lot to do with a Vince Russo type era. What do you think?
I mean, Vince Russo. I mean, I think he's like a wrestling legend. Whatever he did turned to gold, in my opinion. Uh, but yeah, I think he really did. I agree with you.
You could see his handprint on the products, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. No matter what, like
Yeah.
you could tell like what he did, and like no matter which company he was in, you could see like the handprints and stuff when he was in WCW, WWE, well WWF, even when he was in TNA. Like you could see like Vince Russo handprint on the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that you could tell the difference from, like I'm talking about, the shorter matches, 98, 99 period, WWE, WWF at the time. And and then you go over and by the time late 99 came around and he had switched companies, the same thing started happening. The way the product was written different. The matches were a lot shorter at times than what you generally see on a Nitro that would be 3 hours. And they eventually went to 2 hours, of course. But definitely you could tell the difference. And that's the only downfall of that era that at times I look back on. With so much talent during them days, I wish that the matches for the television would have been a little bit longer instead of them going to that type of TV because it was so much talent. Because nowadays you'll see opening match on Raw, Uso and Gunther, and they'll go a good 20 minutes or more. And that's good. That's good match time. But, a lot of times back in the Attitude Era, you would have saw just a quick match or a quick main event and then a schmoz and then Austin and everybody fighting and then there'll be smashing beers. You get what I'm saying? Type of TV. So, I just wish they would have had longer matches like they did on their pay-per-views back then is all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, yeah. Like you could tell when Vince Russo was definitely in the company because he did the same thing of like up at TNA. Like their matches was kind of quick too and everything. So like I could see like the good and bad. Like if you have like a lot of good wrestlers and you want to get everybody on the show, then yeah, it's I don't really see like a problem if it's done right. But like you said, a lot of times you need to have those 20, 25 minute long matches for the story to develop in the ring.
Yes.
Uh, like you can't have like say like Cena's last match. If Russo was in charge, you don't want his match to be like 5 minutes long of him just doing his signature moves and that's it. Like no, you want the story of him and go like 20, 25 minutes. Like you want that. You don't want like like 10 like 8 to 10 minute long matches like he was doing.
Yeah, it's a lot different era, of course. But other than that, the Attitude Era was it was a very enjoyable time. It's the time I grew up through and was young in, and it was just the cool thing. And ECW was around. Man, that was some good stuff. Still a very good era, even though I believe the in ring time of matches could have been a little bit better. But you know, besides all that, it brought everybody's competition up because the ratings were out the gazoo for Nitro. Same thing for Raw. So it brought both of them to compete. And that's one thing that I will say we're missing now is real companies competing against each other. It's more so it's more of an alternative type thing to WWE. All of them are other than being competition at this point. But nonetheless, you do need a variety, and the wrestling fan is getting that, so that's good.
Yeah, it's good for sure.
Well, I know we hit a lot of topics, and there's one more thing that I want to touch base on. Again, we talked about it earlier, and that is CowboyRevolution.com. Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company. Go there, take a look at their stuff. Like Mike was telling you guys about the good products they have. Fall is coming up in a lot of these places. It's going to be cooler. Maybe not so much where I'm at, but Virginia, Carolinas, farther up north, maybe to the Midwest, you may need a hoodie. Go look at them today. Get you a hoodie. Get you a thermos. Get you something to drink out of. Put that coffee in. Go there to cowboyrevolution.com. Put in at checkout Jamie T123. Get that 15% savings today. And I frequent their site a lot. I love looking at the merch and the new products they offer. You guys need to go check it out today. So with that being said, my man, do you have anything else that we should talk about before we end it for this episode?
No, I think we're good. We talked about a lot of good topics today. But also, don't forget if you're in the area, Saturday, August 23rd at 7:30 in Montville, Virginia, Pure Pro Wrestling event. Let's help them out. Like, let's support them. And like I said, it looks like it's going to be a really good card. But that's all I got, buddy.
Awesome. There you go, guys. If you're in the area up in Virginia, check it out. If you're in other areas that offer you great pro wrestling, no matter where it's at, do yourself a favor. See something different. Don't always worry about the Monday night, the Wednesday night, the Tuesday night. It's on almost every day of the week. Thursday night, the Friday night, Saturday night. Don't worry about them. Go check you out an independent show live and in living color and see if you find something there you like. Just